Welcome to episode 1 of FCLE Seminar, the Florida Civic Literacy Exam podcast. I'm your host, Mercedes Musto. In today's episode, I'll be talking about the Civics Literacy Exam itself and what to expect on the FCLE. This is all based on the guide put together by the Office of Assessment out of the Florida Department of Education. I've got the links to these resources in the show notes, so check those out. Let's get started. All right. Pop quiz. How many competencies are on this exam and what are they? Question number 2, how many questions are on this test? Question number 3, how long do I have to answer those questions? What is a passing score? And where do I even take this test? Like, how do I get started? Hey, if you knew the answer to any of these questions, then give yourself a selfie high five because you are off to a great start. And if you didn't know the answers, then hey, keep on listening so you can prepare to prepare. Question number 1, how many competencies are on this exam and what are they? Cool. This exam is broken down into 4 competencies of knowledge. So what do you need to know? You need to have knowledge of the basic principles and practices of American democracy and how they are applied in our Republican form of government. You also need to know an understanding of the United States Constitution and its application, knowledge of the founding documents and how they have shaped the nature and functions of our institutions of self-government, and lastly, have an understanding of landmark Supreme Court cases, landmark legislation, and landmark executive actions and their impact on law and society. Whew. Like I said, there is a lot to know for this test, and we're going to cover all of this stuff one podcast at a time. Question number 2, how many questions are on the test? And question number 3, is there a maximum number of attempts? This is the easiest question I'm going to ask you today. For the FCLE, there are approximately 80 test items. There is also not a cap on how many times you can take the Florida Civic Literacy Exam. In fact, students may attempt the test as many times as needed. However, according to the Florida Department of Education, a 30-day period is recommended before retakes, but do get with your own institution to find out, what is their retake policies? Question number 4, what is a passing score? According to the Florida Department of Education, the passing score will remain at 60%, which is about 48 out of 80, because remember they said that the test has approximately 80 questions. Here's what's important to remember. For this test, you need to get 60%, 60, of the answers correct to pass. So let's see, there are approximately 80 questions and 60% of 80 is 48. Okay, but what does that mean? Well, according to this simple calculation, you would be able to get approximately 40% incorrect, which is 32 questions. Now, I do not recommend getting 32 questions incorrect. No way. But what I am saying is this, you can get some wrong. Aim for pass, not perfection. So there is some wiggle room for human error, and it's okay. No one walks away with an A++ on this. It literally is pass or not pass, so aim for pass. Listen to this podcast and walk away with not only a pass, P-A-S-S, but also some knowledge about the country, the Constitution, and a bunch of landmark cases. Yeah, we're going to have some fun with that. Got it? Good. Lastly, where do I even take this test? How do I get started? For this one, you will need to visit your institution's website. Type in FCLE in the search bar to find their recommended testing sites and policies, or you can also talk to your advisor. Awesome. Hey, yeah, you know what? You got this. I can visualize your success right now. Let's review. You've got 4 competencies and outcomes that cover everything from the basic principles and practices of American democracy and how they are applied in our Republican form of government. an understanding of the United States Constitution and its application, knowledge of the founding documents and how they've shaped the nature of our functions of our institution of self-government, and an understanding of landmark Supreme Court cases, landmark legislation, and landmark executive actions and their impact on law and society. You know that the test is approximately 80 questions, you have unlimited attempts to pass, and the maximum percentages of correct answers needed to achieve a minimum passing score is 60%. There, you have it. What to expect on the FCLE, the Florida Civic Literacy Exam, so you can prepare to pass. Join us again on FCLE Seminar, a Florida Civic Literacy Exam podcast, so you can start studying for your test. The important thing is to start studying, and start studying today. What are you waiting for? Subscribe to our YouTube channel on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And hey, start studying today. This podcast was recorded at the Pickens Multimedia Studio at the University of West Florida. This podcast is listener supported and contributions can be made via the listener support link on Spotify, or you can buy me a coffee via the link in the show notes. This is your host, Mercedes Musto. Join me again on FCLE Seminar, a Florida Civic Literacy Exam podcast, so you can pass the FCLE.